Cereal's been a part of our childhood, at least I assume. So an introduction to it seems a bit pointless, but I'll do it anyway. Cereal was invented by a vegan named James Cable Jackson, who wanted the world to have better alternative to healthy foods, and decided to make his own food with the first invention of cereal. But it wasn't like today. Before it was flavored with sugar or whatever tastes good in cereal, it was dried grain and milk soaked overnight. So you didn't eat it like as it was, you had to soak it overnight. This eventually inspired Kellogg to make his own cereal, and the rest was history. This breakfast item has been home to a lot of advertising throughout the years, and some of the cereal boxes themselves being a product of advertisement, from making them based on movies to literal celebrities. So it only made sense that the food industry would go down this path and partner with cereal companies to make their own, not only making their famous dessert menu items into cereals, but also advertising the restaurants themselves. And these four cereals I'd like to call corporate cereals, meaning they're cereals that are solely designed to sell a company. So with that being said, there are four companies that have made their own cereal, and they're Wendy's, Dunkin' Donuts, Taco Bell, and Ihop. So to kick things off, let's start off with Wendy's. When it comes to the history of Wendy's ad campaigns, cereal shouldn't be so out of place, especially since they put themselves in Fortnite to emphasize that their meat is never frozen. They made an entire mixtape based on this at McDonald's, or even the fact that they use their own mascot, who's based on the founder's daughter by the way, as the most savage roaster on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. So to me, when they released a cereal, it wasn't necessarily surprising, but indeed interesting. You all know what the Frosty is, right? It's a chocolate dessert served in a cup at Wendy's and was first released in 1969. The cereal itself was released in August in 2021. It was meant to emulate the taste of a chocolate Frosty. Though the cereal was good, it wasn't necessarily a chocolate Frosty cereal, but instead was just normal chocolate cereal with marshmallows. You're probably hearing this like, what's the problem? It's regular chocolate cereal. But yeah, that's the problem. Because the cereal is just chocolate cereal, the only reason for you to actually buy this is the branding alone, meaning the cereal has nothing else to distinguish itself from something like, Cocoa Puffs, which is what it exactly tastes like. I guess it's kind of hard to change the taste of a chocolate cereal since every ingredient is the same, but as you can see on the list, a lot of other cereals have put a lot more effort, or quote unquote effort, into being a little more true than Wendy's has. With that being said though, what were the reviews saying?
I mean, you gotta be a real deal miserable person to not enjoy a chocolatey cereal. But does it taste exactly like a Frosty? No, not at all. I mean, I ate the whole thing, which is a good sign, but because they just took another cereal and put it in their box, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
As you can probably expect, a lot of the reviews have been saying that the cereal's good, but it's not a Wendy's Frosty cereal. Someone even went as far as to compare the Frosty with the cereal, and someone else even blended up the cereal to see if it would taste like a Frosty, and still it didn't taste like it was supposed to. If you're going to make a cereal based on your own dessert, the least you can do is to distinguish it from other cereals, because there's no incentive into buying Wendy's cereal if it tastes exactly like another cereal. Because the cereal doesn't have a limited time treatment, I assume it's still on shelves, but it's probably really hard to find since there are a lot better cereals out there. But funnily enough, I was actually able to get my hands on one, in a Burlington nonetheless. I was doing my stocking and eventually after my shift, I decided to go back into the food aisles to see what weird items I could find. There are all these bizarre dry foods, and eventually I took a picture of some. And there it was, Wendy's cereal. I obviously didn't buy it because I want to spend my money wisely, but at least I took a picture of it as proof. Though the cereal is lazy, the box clearly has a lot more effort put into it. If you bought the cereal, there's a free small Frosty coupon, some fun facts about the Frosty on the back, and even a tip to put the cereal in for 5 minutes in the freezer. But in conclusion, as what I could see, it is a good cereal, but it just doesn't really have the staying power other cereals have. But as we get down the list, we'll see a lot better craftsmanship going on. This isn't the first time Dunkin' has made a cereal. Back in 1988, they made a cereal based on their glazed and chocolate donuts. And though Dunkin' wasn't the first to attempt making donut-based cereal, they were still the ones that everyone remembered. After that, the cereal was discontinued. But the idea came back to Dunkin' when they made the announcement in 2020, on Cereal Day nonetheless, that they were making a new cereal. But instead of it being based on their donuts, they'll make them based on their coffee, most popular flavors being caramel macchiato and mocha latte. Okay, now this is more like it. Wendy's should really take notes on this next time, because the amount of effort on this cereal in particular is insane. Not only did it take them 10 months to make, but in order to make it taste like the coffee flavors, they put the flavor extract into the puffs. You don't see other cereal companies advertising cereal that tastes like coffee. Well, that are known brands at least. But there are still some flaws.
It's all sugar. Wait, there's caffeine in this? I don't understand who this product is for. It's like a candy and coffee flavored diarrhea cereal.
You see, coffee and cereal are for two different demographics. You have cereal, which is marketed to kids. Then you have coffee, which is marketed to adults. When you mix these together, it's very hard to figure out who this product is actually for. Kids can't eat it because it contains too much caffeine, and adults don't eat it because it's too much sugar for everyday consumption. I guess teens or young adults can eat it, but there's really no reason for someone to buy it and eat it every single day. The cereal was, I guess, made for an alternative to Dunkin's coffee, but you're probably better off with the coffee from Dunkin instead. Because despite the reviews being very positive, I didn't include these guys because they ate expired cereal. I don't think the reviewers I've seen ever go out of their way to eat this off camera. And even though their dedication is pretty impressive to make it taste like their respective flavors, I don't see a lot of people actually buying this cereal. And eventually, after a year, it got discontinued. Probably because coffee cereal is really hard to sell. But nonetheless, it was a lot better than the last one we saw, so let's get to the next one. Despite me witnessing the pandemic, I've never really had any exposure to 2020 TikTok trends. So it was a surprise to me when one of those trends ended up being pancake cereal. This was a trend where TikTokers would start making pancakes into tiny cereal form, adding their toppings to boot. And I have to admit, it's kind of impressive, but I can't imagine if you put them in milk for too long, they start to get a little soggy. But apparently this was popular enough to get about 1 billion views, which I still find hard to believe. But what's even harder to believe is that Ihop and General Mills soon got onto the trend and made their own pancake cereal. 2 years later. And 2 years too late, I might add, because in 2023, they released the cereal to pretty mid-reception.
If I'm eating it like I normally eat cereal, which I mean, I be going ham, I'm not gonna taste that as pancake. All I'm tasting is like barely blueberry cookie crisps. Like, what the hell?
You see, despite the fact the cereal is supposed to taste like blueberry pancakes, it only seemed to taste like blueberry with the pancake lost in translation. Which I understand because cereals are in mass production and need to be made in a certain way, but this was so similar to another cereal that General Mills made, Cookie Crisps, that a lot of reviewers compared it to. It's one thing for a company to make something based on a trend, but I don't think that IHOP knows that trends, especially TikTok trends, eventually fall out of fashion and aren't relevant anymore. And if it takes you 2 years to respond to something that people apparently were hungry for, I don't think it was worth making at all. Another thing, the trend was cool because of the fact you mix two different breakfast food items together to make one inventive food. The pancakes were real miniature pancakes put into the bowl with any toppings you wanted. But IHOP cereal is just blueberry cookie crisps and only provides one flavor. I didn't say too much about Wendys having one flavor, mainly because that's all they serve, just chocolate. But with IHOP, you have many different toppings or flavors of cereal you can pick from. What about maple syrup flavored or chocolate strawberry flavored? I think IHOP did a lot better with their General Mills collaboration when they did the cereal pancakes and milkshakes in 2020. Not only did General Mills make them a cereal, but IHOP made various pancakes and milkshakes topped with General Mills cereal. One with Lucky Charms, Captain Crunch, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch, with the milkshakes having the same toppings. These look like an actual treat to eat, and they even made a special sauce for the Captain Crunch one, which sparkles. Overall, I had more to say about the pancakes than the actual cereal because the cereal really doesn't have any reason to exist. While the pancakes, though probably a cheap marketing tactic, still at least have a lot of work put in them. Unless you get it to go where you have to assemble it yourself. Taco Bell serves tacos, burritos, and other Mexican dishes that I don't think people really consider real Mexican food, but that doesn't stop people from eating it there anyway. There's one menu item that's very interesting though. And it isn't the Baja Blast pie that was revealed in the Taco Bell E3-like event, but the cinnamon twists, which I guess resembled churros, and were so popular that they ended up partnering with Uber Eats to make the cinnamon twist cereal. And if you're familiar with my weak script writing, you would think that I have a problem with this cereal, but no. The cereal doesn't look that bad, and it's in fact the best one on this list. I would just say that it's just Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but does Cinnamon Toast Crunch fizz when you put milk in it?
Snap, crackle, pop. It's actually snap, crackle, and popping. What?
I don't think so. This cereal takes all the reasons I complained about and fixed them. It's based on and tastes like a beloved food item. It has a cool gimmick that gears you toward the thought of buying it, has a cool box, and has a color changing spoon. And compared to the other gimmicky foods they've made, like the bacon taco shell, the Baja Blast ice cream, this has to be one of the best ideas they've ever had. I'd even say it's perfect. And with any Taco Bell order, you can get it for free, as long as you pay at least $2. And the order's placed at 11 a.m. and only available from January 16th to January 23rd. Yeah, here's the part where I complain about a cereal I didn't buy. Remember the Uber Eats collaboration I mentioned? Well, if you're an Uber Eats member and live in these areas, you're able to get a free box. But if not, then you have to buy a Taco Bell breakfast item like previously mentioned. But January 16th through 23rd is the limited time part of the cereal, which is a shame. I think if I ever got Taco Bell specifically in the morning, I would have just ordered food just to get my hands on that cereal. Because of this, the only other way to get this cereal is on eBay, with people who give it away for insane prices. But for the people that did get it, the reviews were actually very positive all around. And if I bought the cereal, I would probably say the same thing. The only complaint though, the bag is super small. The bag itself looks like it's enough for only 2 bowls, which I wouldn't be mad at if there were more cereals available. I don't know why out of all of the cereals on this list, this one had to be discontinued. Did we really need Wendys cereal on the shelves in 2023? Okay, I'll stop talking about Wendys cereal, but come on. Out of all the cereals we talked about, they all had a reason to be discontinued. Ihop waited for too long to hop on a trend for anyone to care, and Dunkin' Donuts didn't know who they were marketing for. So why did the Cinnamon Twist cereal get the boot so soon? Well, for the amount of information I can gather online, I don't know. I don't even know why they partnered with Uber Eats to make this cereal in particular. But one thing is for certain, it's probably too good for this world. And for that, I think that's a good note to end on. So to end off this video, I think it's safe to say that restaurants shouldn't be making cereal. But before I go, I wanted to ask this question. Why? Why were so many companies making cereal of their products in early 2020? Truth is, I don't know. Maybe this is a test run for something better in the future, or a test to see if they can make this a menu item one day. But the truth is, unless a company tells you the truth, we'll never really know the true intentions of certain marketing tactics. But either way, I'm glad I went down this rabbit hole. And though it took a long time to make, at least I can look back on it and smile at what I've made. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.